Hi everyone, and thank you for participating in my presentation today. My name is Mr. Turai. I am a secondary school teacher from Perak. My presentation today is entitled The Impact of Non-Governmental Organization in Teacher Professional Development in the 21st Century. This is a comparative study made between teachers of members and non-members of NGO. Before we begin, I feel there are 4 questions that we should address first. The first question is, who are teachers? Teachers are not just school teachers. Teachers range from preschool until the tertiary level, which includes lecturers and comprises of both national and private institutions. The second question is, do teachers need professional development? The answer is absolutely yes. Why? Because of lots of positive reform and patterns it has been experiencing internationally and locally. Last, we have been having reformations of teaching skills and knowledges happening constantly. The next question will be, how can teachers professionally develop themselves? By engaging in various activities and platforms, catching up theoretically and practically. There's loads of them around us. But now, what are the common teacher professional development methods? There's a lot of it going on around us. What are the common ones? The first one would be, of course, the in-house trainings, where we have in the institution itself, brought to you by the expertise. Book studies, this is more of a theoretical way, where we study researchers, we study techniques, we study skills. Courses and trainings, this is also a very common way before the lockdown, where teachers or educators are sent for courses and trainings regarding policies and any reformations outside the institutes. And this is now happening a lot during a lockdown period. Webinars, such as seminars, trainings as well, but all done through online methods. Trainers and mentors way, which is we have some kind of trainer and trainee relationship, where someone with the expertise trains the junior to be a better person. Action research, teachers can do research in their classes to improve and to see the outcomes. And finally, non-governmental organizations. This is what we're going to focus on today. How can non-governmental organizations help in teacher professional development? Some of the key points today is going to be this: NGO, non-governmental organizations, that you should know what are they about. I'll let you know after this. TPD, teacher professional development as well, I'll be everything after this. And the next one is 21st century criteria. These are the 3 things very important for today's topic, and I will be explaining them in the next slides. A little bit of background before we continue. PD, I'm just picking out one right definition if I can get. PD is a professional development whereby a process of enhancing and improving the competencies of individuals and groups of an institution by different ways of training and practices. This was said by Gasky in 1986. He is considerably one of the pioneers for professional development. And next we go for TPD, teacher professional development. This is in regards of the educational side, where TPD is a catalyst change in teacher practices, attitudes, and beliefs and student outcomes based on trends. This was said in 2009 by Bayraki. NGOs, what are they? Avenues outside normal working environment to professionally develop their skill. This is the simplest way I can explain. On top of that, I can say that, of course, it's a body, an institution, and an association which doesn't have any institutional benefits or purposes, but it serves for people to develop themselves outside the normal working environment. We have educational, we have charity, we have medical and everything. So today we're going to focus on educational. And the last big thing to talk a little before we continue is the Malaysian Education Blueprint, where it is actually the policy and everything currently happening, and it promotes the development of, I'm picking out the code from the blueprint itself. It promotes the development of teacher professionally to keep abreast of the trending skills and knowledges. This is very important, which is picked out from the Malaysian Education Blueprint. And how NGO will help this, we'll study on this. Just to list few of the local national educational and NGOs in Malaysia. We have MELTA, Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, and PELTA, the Penang side, and we have more going on. So educational NGOs is not to say very lacking in Malaysia. Why NGOs? Why do we need NGOs to help on the educational side on for teacher professional development? Firstly, they have expertise. resources. And next, they also have voluntary time allocation. What do I mean by this? NGOs can easily provide expertise, professors, or someone that knows very well of certain policies. Resources, NGOs have access to both national governmental side of resources and also the locals and also the private ones and from internationally as well. And the third most important thing is here voluntary time allocation. This is one aspect of teachers where they can voluntarily provide time, and when they voluntarily provide time, it is going to be more beneficial in that way. And these are a few of the key research bases that I've covered in this research. Aim and objective is to investigate the impact of non-governmental organizations on teachers' styles in classroom teaching in the 21st century teaching classroom. The significance of the study is to provide an insight of the impact of the NGO or in the teacher professional development in this century here. And the problem statement is to find out the differences is important here. To find out the differences in teachers' 21st century teaching styles and perceptions between the teachers of NGO members and non-NGO members. Just run through very quickly. This is the primary research in reference made to secondary resources. It's a comparative study as I mentioned before. It's a mixed method where I have both quantitative and qualitative research styles here, where qualitatively I have teacher interviews of NGO members, 5 of them, and quantitatively I have teacher surveys, 60 of them in total. 30 of them are teachers of members, NGO members, and there are 30 of them is going to be teachers of non-members. This is the conceptual framework, or I would say the key elements for today's topic here. Teaching style, that's one of the biggest key point here. And how do I shape up teaching style, how do I apprehend this is teaching style can be first made by teacher training, the pre-service training from institutes, colleges and universities. The experiences are what teachers gain throughout, if it's a 5-year experience, 10-year experience. This is all what shapes up teaching style of someone. And of course, besides these two, today's topic is going to be on the external influences. How can external influences such as NGOs, movements, campaigns brought in to change the teaching styles of teachers today? And this teaching style is the one that is going to move focus towards the 21st century teaching and learning. Putting it in questions, the main question for today is, does the NGO serves as an ideal teacher professional development method to influence the teacher's classroom teaching styles in the 21st century? And how do I break this? There's 2 sub-questions here. What are the different teaching styles of teachers who are members and non-members? I will explain this later on. And how do these NGOs influence the teaching styles of teachers throughout the professional development? The key research development is going to be the 2 things over here, where I will talk about the 21st century teaching styles, 21st century teaching styles here. How do I explain this? Okay, we have McCog 2008, he actually gave the 4 C's for teaching criteria, 21st century teaching criteria. The critical thinking skills, the collaboration skills, the communication skills, then the creativity and innovation skills. And later on, Ravid said 2014 added on the integration of technology. So these 5 things are what makes the 21st century criteria, and these 5 criteria is what I use to study this research here. And of course, the NGO impact and roles of professional development, I will be studying on the depth of the NGO's impact on teachers and their style, roles of this PD, and the differences in ideology between the members and non-members. Moving on. These are some of the examples of my results, how I studied. I asked 20 questions, almost 20 to 30 questions over here. Questions, for example, in a survey, compares information from different sources. The teachers from NGO, they say they use it 4 times a week. Teachers of non-members of NGO, like 2 or 3 times a month, taking information from different resources. How they draw conclusions based on numbers and facts. All these questions, these are specific questions I've asked. Don't worry, I'll be explaining them, round of them in a very brief way after this. So critical thinking skills, there's about 6 questions over there. Collaboration skills, there's about another 5 questions over there. For example, do students present in their works in groups? Teachers from the NGOs, they say daily they use that. Some of them, 43% of them, they say that. For example, question number 9, teachers of non-members of NGO, they use it 2 or 3 times a month. Of course, one can always say this can all be coincidence, but later on I will say that I've been using frequencies to state my point over here. There are more questions here regarding communication skills, creativity and innovation skills, and also how they integrate of technology. Communication skills questions like how do students convey the ideas using media, preparing and delivering oral presentations, answering questions in front of an audience. Creativity skills, do students generate their own ideas, do they test out different ideas and work on improving them. Integrating technologies, of course, using of technology or the internet for self-instruction, like how it's happening right now during the lockdown and the online classes. Uses of technology to support teamwork or collaboration, and more. Alright, let's go to the important part here, my discussion stats here. The first subsection, the first sub-question of my research, it goes to test the teaching style of teachers. The 21st teaching criteria, 21st century teaching criteria. Here, I will be seeing the number of question areas which shows a majority whereby teachers of NGO members have higher frequency and promotes the said skill in their classroom practices. For example, the inclusion of critical thinking skills in classroom. I've tested, and 4 out of 6 questions in that survey gained responses where the majority of teachers from NGOs showed higher frequency of these classroom practices compared to the non-NGO members. Okay, 4 out of 6 questions in this critical thinking skill shows that the members, NGO members, practice this more in their classroom. That's what I'm trying to mean. The second part here, 4 out of 5 questions in collaborative skills shows the teachers of NGO members practice more, have higher frequency in their classroom practice. For the communicative skill, 3 out of 4 questions here shows the teachers of NGO members have higher frequencies. Creativity and innovation skills, again 4 out of 5 questions here shows that the teachers of NGO members have higher frequency and promote this skill, the creativity skill in their classroom. And finally, integrating technology, 4 out of 5 question areas here. Question areas here, I mean all these question areas here where we have 26 questions. So each question I have been testing them, their frequencies and how do they practice in their classroom. So frequency is the keyword here, I've called that. And conclusion here is 19 out of 25 questions gained responses to deduce that teachers of NGO members are inclined to have greater teaching style, which incorporates the 21st century teaching criteria here. What I mean is this subsection, this sub-question here of this research analyze the different teaching styles of teachers who are members and non-members of NGO, and using the inference set prior to the study whereby the higher frequency of the stated teaching practices leans towards a higher classroom teaching practice of the skills. Based on this finding, all 5 questions have revealed the teachers whom are NGO members have more inclination towards the 21st century teaching criteria. The total of 19 out of 25 questions gained response to deduce that the teachers of NGO members have inclined to have more tendencies to have this greater teaching style, which incorporates the 21st century teaching criteria. To make it very brief, these 5 subsections have showed higher frequency in teachers of NGO members to use them in the classroom practices. The second sub-question here is on the NGO influence on teaching style. This was made after an interview with the 5 teachers from the NGO members. Here, I've asked them few things. The first is the types of professional development that they participated through the NGOs, and they say they have gone in research conferences, language camps, educational colloquiums, seminars, webinars, courses, participating in journal writing and stuff. This does not happen in local school or even national schools or private schools in the schools. This is a professional development that generally NGOs promote. Next is that I've asked them what are your needs, teachers' needs that can be fulfilled through these NGOs, professional development programs. They say, of course, the needs for trainings, for teaching techniques and understandings on the latest teachers' concepts and policies. This happens very quickly through NGOs, through the said programs above, rather than waiting for these, especially in national school systems and the way of them delivering in national school systems. It is more efficient here, it seems. I will quote two of the teachers' thoughts from my interviews, which actually caps pretty much of this research, my research here. NGOs are equipped with expertise and resources. Together with teacher voluntary time allocation makes it a perfect PD. To reword this, NGOs, as I said earlier, expertise, all the master trainers and stuff, resources locally, nationally, and in private institutions, they are sourced there. And teacher voluntary time, this NGO, you have to understand that teachers actually spend their own voluntary time. So when they spend their own voluntary time, there wouldn't be time restrictions to control the intakes and everything, unlike how in schools. The next quote here is, they say NGOs being the quickest and the most efficient platform without much of red tapes or SOPs, standard procedures, will recognize and expertise to share their thoughts. Red tapes, this is something that happens in national institutes, how we have to follow the SOPs step by step. So NGOs are sort of, they take out that aspect of it and makes it very fast and smooth to run this along. So as a conclusion of my research, I can safely say with the facts that educational NGOs are better as teacher professional development today, especially in the 21st century, especially with the lockdown period where people are staying in their homes to carry out the professional developments. I can also prove that educational NGOs promotes more inclination towards the teaching of using of 21st century teaching criteria in the classroom. This is based on the statistics and the frequencies from my research based on the 5 criteria. With that, I think I can end, with time also catching up with us, I can end our presentation. Please post your questions in the given feedback column, or you can always email me here. Thank you very much for your time in my presentation.